Guys, welcome back to the channel. Hope you guys are doing well and staying safe. If you're new around here, please drop a like, comment, and subscribe. So today, guys, I have a sales call, hence why I'm kind of like, well, I've actually got a couple sales calls for the agency, hence why I'm kind of dressed up a little bit. I do like to put on a shirt every now and again and kind of just, act professional. I got a couple big brands I'm actually about to jump on a call with. That said though, I'm kind of busy, to be honest with you guys. So what I'm decided to do is actually give you guys a little bit of a treat as well. So I thought, what can I kind of do in terms of like making a video for you guys today? So I'm trying to kill two birds with one stone. It's very smart actually when you think about it. What I'm going to do first and foremost is give you a treat in terms of I'm actually going to pull one of the actual modules from Agency Transmutation. The program right now is $497 and it will be releasing for $997. So I do recommend you get in on that quickly if you obviously want to save yourself 50% right there and then. Agency Transmutation is my flagship literal life work where I've been holding off for the last 3 years just looking at the industry. There's literally been programs I've purchased online just to get inside of them, just to see what they look like. So I have a very good pulse on the market, what people are offering and where the pain problems are and what people are struggling with. I literally started to create a website, right guys, for my own personal brand. This is how you know I don't really push my personal brand and whatnot. I don't even have a website. I don't have an email list. I don't have a funnel. I don't run ads for it. I don't DM people for it or anything like that. I just literally create YouTube videos based upon like what I'm doing with my agency and stuff like that. And then people naturally inquire about that. So I guess that's kind of like what my personal brand is. And even then, have you noticed there's no ads on my video? I don't monetize this stuff. I'm really not trying to use my personal brand for money. So anyway, guys, I'm gonna give you a free module of Agency Transmutation. And like I said, I do have a real good pulse on the market and I can see what the gurus are quote unquote missing out in their particular program. Is actually insane. I have never even seen a program, for example, go into, and this is actually embarrassing of the industry. These people are talking about how they've got these amazing programs and blah, 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 and it's industry changing. I'm looking at the cold email stuff. And like they're not even showing you, first of all, how to even write good kind of like cold emails, how to come up with irresistible offers. They're not even showing you how to take two body scripts, isolate variables, keep constants, and then split test two different things. What are you split testing? How do you come up with good subject lines? They're not even showing you any of that. How do you do the lead sourcing without having to go to Instagram and do that stupid algorithm hop thing that literally takes hours on end? They're not showing you that sort of stuff. And then they're showing you old school techniques such as like using D7 lead. It's kind of embarrassing. It's kind of terrible, to be honest with you guys. So that's why I've created Agency Transmutation. I've waited and waited and waited. I'm so glad that it's officially being released and you guys can actually jump in on that particular program. Now, if you're interested in that, go below. There's a video explaining what Agency Transmutation is, what the 6 weeks entail, but it teaches you everything about Upwork, email outreach. It teaches you all the stuff about Facebook ads, social media management, how to, implement what I like to call the hybrid system, reverse prospecting, where, for example, this is what the gurus teach you. They literally teach you to go like this. Go and find leads, and then you start with a blank Excel sheet or a blank sheet, and you build out the sheet going down. You open up an Excel sheet, you put the columns in, and then, you collect businesses down the sheet. You start off with a blank sheet. I do it the opposite way. So I've taken a look at the market and done literally the opposite. I call this reverse prospecting. Now, reverse prospecting is where you start with a sheet that has full of leads in there. Either you get a lead source to go and build you a lead sheet, or you buy a lead sheet from somewhere else, or you scrape some leads that are actually high quality. I show you all 3 methods, by the way, in Agency Transmutation. Then what you do is, instead of building the sheet up from scratch, you actually start with a sheet that's already full. And then what you do is just eliminate businesses out of the sheet. It's much more efficient that way. You see, you guys, I feel like these dudes are not thinking. They're just trying to get out their programs and stuff like that and just forcing it, if you will. Me, I've actually taken my time. Could have released a program years ago, but I held off. I just wanted to make sure that it came out, not only perfect, but I've actually done my actual research into what they're doing, what they're offering, that sort of stuff. And I'm telling you, I'm here to kind of crush the market, if I'm being honest with you. I say that, I'm not to be arrogant, but I literally have seen this sort of stuff. And like I said, I was building out my website for my agency, my personal brand. And I literally started to put on my, as a joke, by the way, but this was actually genuinely a joke. I literally put as my tagline, I'm the dude you come to after you've taken all the gurus courses and still haven't landed a client. Every single call I've ever had with, bringing on new students into Agency Transmutation or into my one-to-one coaching, I've said, oh, I've been through so-and-so's course, insert your favorite guru's name here. I've been doing this for months and still not got a client. They then come to me and I help them get clients. So that's basically, and the way how I do that, if you take a look at my previous video on a particular channel, I believe it was the one which was, the quickest way to scale to 10K per month. I talk about the hybrid system. The hybrid system is basically where you use Upwork, stack small ticket clients. That gives you cash flow. Cash flow then allows you to automate certain systems and put certain systems in place to actually increase the amount of outreach you're actually doing. So anyway, guys, I'm going to leave you with the module Agency Transmutation. This is from module 1, and you'll see exactly what it's all about. It's a little bit lengthy, but I do go into lots of detail into certain things, and I'm very thorough in how I teach stuff, and I don't like to miss stuff out. But anyway, guys, if you're interested in agency transmutation, all you got to do is go to the link below. It's literally a video you can just watch. You don't have to put your email in there or anything like that. I'm not trying to collect emails from you guys. I'm literally just going to show you and break down what the actual modules are, what you actually get, what it's all about, why you need it, what it kind of entails, and how it's different from everything else on the market right now. So anyway, guys, I'm going to leave you with that. And please do enjoy, one of the modules out of agency transmutation for completely free. So see you guys soon. So guys, welcome back to Agency Transmutation and module 2 of week 1, which is understanding the actual business model within itself. So here's what we're going to be covering in today's kind of class, if you will. So what is SMMA? So we're just going to break down what actually is a social media marketing agency, how the business model works and why it works. I think that's really important for you guys to understand the whys into, why the actual business model, genuinely works within itself. I'm going to give you a breakdown as to why people hire agencies and why you're actually more important than you think, even if you are a complete beginner. I'm also going to break down the 2 types of service offerings and what are kind of like what you can actually be and what you can offer, and the 2 kind of like fences on that. I'm going to explain why both of those are actually needed as well. And then I'm going to actually break down just a quick overview of what you actually need in order to start SMMA. And I'm then going to show you the hybrid way, the hybrid system way to SMMA, if you will. So let's break down what SMMA actually is. So what is SMMA? So SMMA is basically just short for social media marketing agency. Believe me, it's actually so funny. I've been friends with a lot of people, and I literally had a friend not even just long ago. They've literally seen me start my entire business like 3 years ago, kind of like when I started like YouTube and stuff like that. I kind of got into agency world like 2 years after that. They've literally watched me build my YouTube channel. Like, I'm not even joking. They've actually helped me with my business, and they still didn't understand what SMMA was. But yeah, guys, social media marketing agency, that's what SMMA basically stands for. Now, a social media marketing agency is simply a service-based business that provides other businesses or brands with social media marketing services in return for money. Very, very simple stuff. Let me give you an example. My business, MCG Agency, we help other businesses get customers and make more revenue through Facebook advertising. And in return, they actually pay us, a monthly fee. This monthly fee is what is actually referred to as a retainer. It's most commonly known as a retainer. Now, a retainer is basically a regular upfront payment, upfront being the keyword there. It's an upfront payment by a client on your behalf, basically to, it's a payment by a client to a service provider, which is, a client paying you to provide a service. So that's basically what a retainer is. If you actually Google what a retainer is, you'll see that definition right there. Now, a retainer is normally paid monthly by the client to you. You can have weekly retainers. You can have, bi-weekly retainers once every two weeks, for example. But yeah, typically in SMMA, it's normally a monthly retainer. Now, let's actually break down the definition of agency, because I feel like this is very important going forwards in terms of the actual agency within itself, and kind of like how we build out the agency using the hybrid way, and the way how I built my agency out as well. So if you take a look on the right hand side there, it says agency definition. If you literally just Google agency definition, you will see the very first thing it says is a business or organization. Keyword there. A business or organization. Now, if you Google what an organization is, it's multiple people basically. So let me just quickly read the definition and explain to you why I've kind of stressed those 2 points there. See, agency is a business or an organization providing a particular service on behalf of another business, person, or group. For example, an advertising agency. That's exactly what we're going to be building. Social media marketing agency. You can call it agency, whatever you want to call it. SMMA, agency, it's all the same thing. But basically, guys, an agency is an organization. It's a business. That means there's multiple people within the business. And I'm kind of wanting to put that out there right now and keep that at the back of your head, because it's not just you that has to do all of the service delivery and the entire business yourself, which we'll be getting into that in a second. So let me break down why SMMA basically works. Why does SMMA actually work, should I say? So the reason why and I guess if I was to give you like an overall explanation as to why SMMA actually works, is because It's because, should I say, it's a problem solution based business model. You see, the number one problem all businesses can face is going out of business due to lack of customers. And if you take a look at all of the businesses that have actually failed, you will literally see that 95% of those businesses, went out of business for some sort of reason that all can be stemmed back to either a lack of business, a lack of cash flow, or they've just been out competed. Now, if you take a look at what lack of business and lack of cash flow actually means, that's not actually the root problem. That's just a symptom of having lack of customers. So if you actually take a look at why businesses go out of business, kind of sounds weird saying it like that, but businesses go out of business because of, most of the time, it's because of lack of customers or lack of cash flow. Now, the reason why a business has lack of customers and lack of cash flow is because that's a symptom of lack of marketing. See, you see, lack of customers is just a symptom. It's not the root cause. It's just a symptom of lack of marketing, because marketing brings customers. Now, if you ask any business owner what they truly want from their business, they will directly or indirectly say something on the lines of they want more revenue, they want to scale up their profits, they want to make more money basically. And of course, more revenue comes from more customers, and more customers comes from more marketing. And you see, like I said, the way most, how businesses actually get, and then this is all businesses, the way how all businesses get more customers is through marketing, period. They have to basically market their business. It doesn't matter how great your products are. You can't just build it and, expect customers to come. That's not how business actually works. You see, with your actual agency, you also have the solution to their number one problem, which is, again, all businesses, their number one problem is going out of business. And if you have a key to kind of, market their business better and bring them in more customers, you literally have the solution to their number one problem. Not only that, but on the flip side as well, you see, business owners are actually terrified of going out of business and failing. It's their dream. As a business owner myself, I can genuinely vouch for this. It's, when you start a business, you obviously are doing it for financial freedom, location freedom, and time freedom, of course. So when it comes to business owners will do anything basically to stay in business, because their business is basically their baby, if you will, and they really cherish it. I really cherish my businesses, and it's just one of those things where it's like, I guess a lot of egos on the line. I wouldn't even say ego. It's just a lot of stakes, riding on your business being successful. You don't want to come across as an embarrassment having a failed business. Not only that, but like you've got a lot of people to actually feed as well, in terms of like if you've got employees, that sort of stuff. Not saying that we have to have employees in our agency, but you get the point I'm trying to make here, guys. Most businesses have, employees that they have to look after and stuff like that. So going out of business is just not an option, basically, and it makes them sick to their stomach, basically. So as I said just there, the simple thought of a business owner going out of business makes them sick to their stomachs and keeps them up at night completely sweating and absolutely just dreading the thought. Now, if you can solve this problem for a business owner and actually bring them in customers consistently and profitably, they will literally pay you any amount of money you basically demand. That's because you can actually build their business at will if you know how to bring them in customers. That's one of the hardest things to do as a business, any business that is. It's the most expensive thing to do, the most important thing to do, because your customers are, for a business, is its lifeline. The actual cash flow that's its blood flow, if you will. It's oxygen. It needs customers to basically breathe, live, that sort of stuff. Now, you also have the solution to their number one fear. So not only do you hold the solution to their number one problem in business, but you also hold the solution to their number one fear. And I'm telling you, that is worth a lot of money to people, especially these business owners. Now, better marketing simply just equates to more sales. And think about it like this. Have you actually ever heard of a business going out of business because they've got too many customers? Yeah, I don't think me neither, to be honest with you. Now, the other side as well, I guess this is probably like a third point, if you will, is that it's convenience as well. Because like, of course, I'll be breaking the two types of kind of like services that you can offer, and kind of like what a convenience offer is and what opportunity offer is. Spoiler alert, we'll be getting into that in a second. But there's also a second side as to why SMMA works. And that's because business owners are very busy people and would rather focus their time working on their business instead of like messing around doing tedious tasks such as like their own social media and, doing like the posting and coming up with the content and stuff like that. For example, Here's another example for you right here. Business owners can easily do their own accounting. I mean, you can literally just Google right now how to file a tax return over here in the UK for a public a private limited company, and you can actually work out how to do that. But business owners choose to still hire somebody to do that job for them and take that off of their hands, basically for convenience sakes, which is why people get accountants basically. So offering a service such as social media management is also a viable option. I don't want you to come into this program thinking you only have to offer, Facebook ads and stuff like that, because social media management is still a viable option. I'm not just saying as well in this program that you have to offer either social media management or Facebook ads. There's a whole bunch of services that you can actually provide that we'll be getting into in one of the later modules in the actual agency transmutation program. But I want you to break this down real quick, that convenience offers such as social media management are still viable options, because you're going to help other business owners free up their time and their energy, and that's going to be worth a lot of money to them, because then now they can focus their energy elsewhere on growing their business. So that's, I guess, how kind of like SMMA works. Let me actually break down some more about how SMMA actually works. So how SMMA works for us as the actual business owner and what we need to actually do. So first, this is kind of like I guess this would be the overall arching way of, or kind of like the route a person would go down when they start SMMA. First and foremost, you identify a niche. Then what you want to do is you identify the most pressing problems within that particular niche via actual market research and actually genuinely doing the market research yourself. You then figure out creative, ongoing ways to solve those problems. Ongoing being the keyword there, because yes, you can go and find a solution to a problem for a business owner and solve it, but then if it's not an ongoing problem, such as like getting customers in each and every month, then it's going to be like a one-off gig. For example, if a business owner just wants a one-off, website creation type of thing, then you're going to help them create a website one time. You're going to get paid one time, and it's just going to be just a single payment basically. Whereas what we want to do is we want to figure out a pressing problem that's ongoing for them, and it consistently happens for them, such as, customers. A business can never get too many customers. Like I said, I've never heard of a business go out of business because it's got too much business, aka customers. So we figure out creative ways to solve ongoing problems for them, and then what we do is we can either do the actual service delivery ourselves in terms of actually doing either the Facebook ads ourselves or doing the social media management ourselves, or we can actually outsource that. Now, I'll be getting into all of this later on down in the program in agency transmutation, so don't worry too much about this right now. I just want to break down how SMMA works as a whole for us. So the next step would be to find suitable businesses, via various means such as like Google searches, that sort of stuff, and collect their details into like a what you call like a lead sheet, or put them into a CRM system. A CRM system is basically a customer relationship management tool, basically, such as like Pipedrive. We then reach out to businesses that we think are going to be a good fit for our services based upon certain criteria. We then get them on a sales call, also known as a discovery call or a growth demo call or a growth analysis call. It doesn't really matter what you call it. I prefer to, if you're actually going to give you some advice, if I'm going to give you some advice here, guys, is that I would actually prefer you to call it something like, a growth analysis call. It sounds like it's, it has a high perceived value than just a free consultation call. That's kind of played out as well. Consultation calls are kind of played out. Everybody says that. Everybody and their uncle, as they say over here in the UK. So we then sell them our services and actually get paid. So we get them on a sales call, we then sell them our services and we get paid. We then deliver our services and solve their problems, and that's why they continue to pay us, and they pay us each month for our continued work. Now, I recommend always closing clients on a 3-month minimum. We'll be getting into this as well. So let me break down the 4 pillars of SMMA. SMMA, if you actually distill it back, I really believe there's only 4 real pressing points to SMMA, 4 pillars, if you will. There's, yes, obviously, if you narrow down into each one of these things, there's much more that goes into it, and there's so much more moving parts, but these are kind of like the 4 cornerstones, if you will, or 4 pillars of SMMA. So we've got lead sourcing and prospecting. That's, finding leads, first of all, finding a lead source and then actually going through that lead source and actually identifying who's a good fit from who's not. Then we've got outreach, which is obviously reaching out. And then we've got sales, which is obviously, the actual sales, self-explanatory. Then we've got the service delivery, which again is self-explanatory. So lead sourcing and prospecting. This is identifying a market / niche, or should I say, or niche with a common problem. These problems, basically, we need to be able to solve these problems. Now, what we're looking for here are businesses that are going to be a good fit for our service and our price point, and based upon and this all, again, this is quite a, I wouldn't say it's a difficult thing to do. This is more of a tedious thing to do, to be honest with you. So what we do is we identify a niche market first. Now we need to make sure that they have some sort of common problem within that market. So dental businesses need dental patients. That would be a kind of like identifying a niche with a problem that has a similar problem. So what we do is we find a niche with a similar problem, and these are problems that we obviously know we can solve via our services. And then what we do is start looking at their businesses to actually ensure they're a good fit for our service and our price point. And based upon our pre-qualifying and predefined criteria, we either decide to reach out to them or not. And then, you know, all the businesses that we do decide to reach out to and are going to be a good fit, what we do is we collect those leads and we put them into a G Suite, kind of like Google Sheet, if you will. G Sheet basically stands for Google Sheet. Or we put them into a CRM system to be reached out to a later time, basically. So that's what lead sourcing is: finding a niche, identifying a niche, and then finding good prospects within that niche. A prospect is basically a potential client that you're looking to reach out to and, you know, turn into a complete stranger into an actual paying client. That's a prospect right there. Now, then we have, you know, after we've stored our leads into, you know, Google Sheets or a CRM system, we actually have to do the outreach, which is, you know, reaching out to them. Reaching out to these quote unquote leads. A lead is basically just a prospect in a sheet. That's basically a lead. A lead is kind of like a potential customer, if you will. So outreach is the act of reaching out to a lead in order to set up a meeting where you can then sell them your services. So I'll say that again real quick. Outreach is basically the act of reaching out to a lead in order to set a meeting where you can then sell them on your services. Note how I said, when we reach out to people, we're kind of selling them on the meeting. We're only reaching out to people to set up a meeting. We're not actually trying to reach out to people via, for example, like email and then sell them our services right there and then. We're not doing that. We never actually try to sell our services via the first outreach. We always aim for a meeting. That's how you sell, SMMA to people, or your agency services to people. Then we have the sales call, its actual self. So what we do is we do the outreach to set up a meeting. That meeting is now called our sales call or discovery call or growth analysis call, whatever you guys want to call it. Again, I recommend giving it a kind of like a name that has a kind of like ring to it, such as like a growth analysis call or something like that. Kind of sounds like it has a higher perceived value than just a discovery call. Anyway, the sales call is basically, you know, sales is the act of selling your service to your clients, basically, and selling your clients on actually what you do, how your services work, how it helps them. And what you do then is you get them to sign up with your agency and pay you a monthly retainer. You know, again, that monthly retainer is what I'm talking about, that monthly fee. For the exact same services that you've actually talked to them about on that particular call. Of course, there's a strategy to this, and we'll be going through this in week 5, which is the sales part of this actual program. Now, sales calls are typically referred to as free consultation calls, discovery calls, growth demo calls, and like I said, I do recommend you have some sort of cool name for your actual sales calls. I want to say cool, that's not really necessarily the right word, but a name that gives off like a high perceived value, if you will. Now, service delivery is, of course, delivering the services or the service that you basically just sold your clients on what they have basically paid for and what they're actually paying for. That's basically all service delivery is. There are a plethora of different services that you can actually offer, but I highly recommend only offering one service, to be honest with you, as offering 2 different services is seriously like running 2 different agencies at the same time. And believe me, getting one agency off the ground when you're very, very first started and stuff like that it's hard enough as it is. And then just adding on a secondary service is, you know, it's just going to double the amount of effort it's going to do and take, because your operation is going to be very sloppy, that sort of stuff. So it really can complicate things. So I do recommend offering one service and being, you know, very lean with that. Now, service delivery can and should be automated from the very start. I know a lot of people actually ask me, Montel, when should I automate Facebook ads? When should I automate social media management? Should I get a client first and then figure out how to do it myself, or should I just automate straight away? I personally believe in putting an expert in your business first and then actually just outsourcing it completely first. Now, I say this with, I guess, a little bit of regret. Now, the reason why I say a little bit of regret, I guess, or I say this with caution, if you will, is because I don't want people to do this. I don't want you to then go and start looking for example, a media buyer in the media buying section. For example, when I show you how to do that, I believe that's going to be in week 2. So I don't want you to go and, make that a kind of like procrastinating thing, as in like, oh, I can't find a media buyer, so now I can't do outreach. Don't use that as procrastination, because that's a real warning to you guys. There's nothing more important than outreach, which you'll see in a second. Or should I say, it's right here. A quick word of warning. You see, lead sourcing, outreach, and sales. At the beginning of your journey, especially when you're below 10K a month, right? Your only focus should be finding leads, reaching out to them to set meetings, and then closing those meetings. You see, nothing else actually matters, and 80% of your time wants to go on these 3 particular pillars, if you will, which is lead sourcing, prospecting, outreach, and sales. Primarily on outreach, if I'm being honest with you. Lead sourcing and prospecting, I'm going to show you basically how to handle those and kind of like automate those and kind of just have like a huge, just go and collect leads very quickly throughout this program. Outreach, you're definitely that's literally where your energy should be. If we're actually going to go in a little bit deeper than this, out of these 3 things in green here, these 3 pillars of SMA in green here, the most important out of those 3 would actually be the outreach, because it's the outreach that brings you the sales calls. Without outreach, you're not getting sales calls. And the funny thing is, with SMMA, a lot of people, I don't know what it is, but they think they have to spend 20 months researching Facebook ads, and they want to get everything perfect first before reaching out. But I've noticed that that's actually code word for procrastination. You see, nothing else matters. Building like a fancy website, that doesn't matter. Registering your business, that does not matter. Learning Facebook ads, that does not matter. Creating a logo, that does not matter. Coming up with a cool name, creating an Instagram page for your agency. All of these things are done primarily by people that know they have to do outreach, right? But they're just scared of doing the outreach because they're scared of actually talking to people. So they use it as a way to justify their own procrastination. Now, let me just go back to the second point, registering your business. The only time you need to register a business, and this is not legal advice, by the way, apparently, I'm not too sure, but apparently the people who are listening to this from, the United States, America and stuff like that, I've heard that you guys can basically get sued like really easily over there in America. I'm not too sure how kind of like, I don't know if that's like a stereotype or something like that, but I'm not too sure how things go obviously in America. So you might want to have to Google this. Normally I've heard that people just, register an LLC for like $100 or something like that, $200, $150, whatever it is. And then they're completely fine. So yeah, over in the UK, you can literally just register as a sole trader and be fine with that. You don't need to register a business, by the way. You do not need to do that, and you don't need to worry about no tax or anything like that. Now, let's actually break down why businesses actually hire agencies. You see, when I first got started in SMMA, in the SMMA realm, if you will, and the world of agency life, I personally, I'm not even joking, I would actually often wonder, like, why on earth would another business hire me to run their advertising or manage their social media accounts if they could just literally hire either an employee to do it, or they could literally just do it themselves? I literally just could not break that down. So let me actually break down like what it would be like to hire an agency versus an employee. You see, if we take a look at the employee route, right? If a business owner is going to hire an employee to do their advertising for them, on average, and you can actually go and Google this. This is actually pulled straight from Google itself. So this is, fact checked and stuff like that. You see, on average, it costs around $4,129 to hire a new employee. And it also takes on average around 52 days to fill an open position. You see, this is extremely slow and tedious. Not only that, but there's training involved as well. So the cost to acquire a new employee, if you will, like the recruitment cost and stuff like that is alone is 4.1K. Then it actually takes 52 days to fill that open position. So that's a very, very long time where, especially in the world of marketing and advertising, 52 days, literally everything's changed. The way how Facebook's changing these days, the way how the marketing changes, it's just way too slow, way too tedious, basically. Now, like I said, or should I say, what I'm about to say is the business owner also has to pay this employee a fixed salary, which on average is around $53K dollars a year, which is around $4,500 per month for just one single person. They also, like I said, have to pay for training, which within itself takes a long time. Then they have to, first of all, that takes a long time, the training itself. Then they actually have to pay for the training, the employee to get trained. Then they have to pay the employee, stuff like benefits, pension, insurance. So there's much more responsibility when you have an employee. in terms of you actually have to look after them, stuff like that, which is kind of why I mentioned earlier as well that like when business owners go out of business, it's not just a hit for them, it's a hit for all the other people that are relying on them for like food. Like literally there's people that's actual somebody's career, somebody's job basically that's tied with that business going under. So I also noticed that like with employees, and I actually asked a couple of my friends about this, they're actually less incentivized to actually do the work. Because when it comes to a 9-to-5 job, let's say you have 10 tasks to do that particular day in your job. As an entrepreneur, right? This is just general kind of like, I wouldn't say advice, but just kind of general kind of like standing in life versus, you know, employee versus entrepreneur. I've actually heard, you know, for example, like my friends, when they go to work, and I've actually genuinely asked them this, like when you go to work and you say, let's say you have 10 tasks to complete that particular day, and it's going to take you, on average, it takes the average person 4 hours or 8 hours of work to do this 9 to 5. They do 10 tasks through that 9 to 5 period. What happens if you go in and do those 10 tasks really quickly in the first hour? Can you go home? These dudes said no. Like my friend said no, you can't actually go home after you've done your work, even though you've done your day's work within 1 to 2 hours, for example. So there's no incentivization there. There's nothing to incentivize you to actually do the work right there. That means people need more monitoring, and they're just less motivated as a whole. And again, with an employee, they're slow and they're difficult to fire and replace. Now, let's see how that kind of stacks up against, you know, just hiring an agency. So with an agency, especially the way how I'm going to teach you how to run your agency throughout agency transmutation, you know, when we actually sign on a client, work actually begins within 3 to 7 business days after a painlessly easy onboarding process. And there's no hidden fees in terms of like, there's no benefits they have to pay us or anything like that. Our onboarding process literally takes anywhere from 60 to 90 minutes to get a client onboarded. With agencies, there's less responsibility. There's no salary involved. We're flexible, and you know, if a client really is unhappy, they can end the contract because we're on a contract basis. So there's no, you know, fixed salary. There's no training needed with an agency. We are already experts, or we already have a team of experts, you know, in the business, and we're at the cutting edge of the market and what we actually do. And you know, we know all the tricks of the trade, if you will, gifts of the gaff, as they say over in the UK as well. Now, for the same monthly fee of 1 employee, right, you can actually hire a team of highly trained experts within an agency. So for that same 4.5k, you know, you can hire a single employee for, and that's just one person that might not be even trained. You can actually hire, for that same 4.5k, a full team of experts that are going to do the job quicker and much more professionally and give you a higher quality of results. Plus, they're incentivized. You see, because the next point I'm about to make is with agencies, they often, especially for like the e-commerce industry, which we'll be talking about, you know, as we go forward in agency transmutation, agencies often come with a performance-based fee, as in like what you call a ROAS deal. A ROAS deal is basically where you charge a client a flat fee, and then if you get them great results, you know, with Facebook ads, you can basically earn more money if you get them better results. Basically, I'll just leave it at that because we're going to explain what ROAS deals are very soon. I'm pretty sure some of you guys listening to this might know what ROAS deals are. If you don't worry too much because we're going to be going into ROAS deals, you know, later on down the line. So agencies often come with performance-based fees, which basically incentivizes us as an agency to get clients better results, which is obviously a win for everybody. It win for the actual client themselves because their business obviously is getting more customers and making more money. We actually make more money because we actually get a percentage of that, kind of like a commission, if you will, like a kickback fee. And it's just a win for everybody on all sides of the party, if you will. Your media buyer, your team wins because they can actually, you know, get in on that commission and stuff like that. You can give them a bonus and whatnot. So everybody wins because then everyone's making more money. And like I said earlier, if a client's really not happy, they can just cut the contract at any time and speak to us about that. And we can obviously, you know, ethically and morally, I think, you know, if a client's really unhappy, then obviously just tear up the contract that you have with them and, you know, call it quits and go your separate ways. Now, let me actually break down why your services are truly needed as an actual agency. You see, this is what I was talking about earlier. In SMMA, right, you can either be an opportunity offer or a convenience offer. Now, I want to kind of explain what both of these are just real quick. So an opportunity offer, these are services that can bring your clients either directly or indirectly more business opportunities in terms of generating more sales. So that's the aim of an opportunity offer, to normally bring the business more business opportunities in terms of like helping them make more money basically. Now this can either be immediately or short term. Now these are typically much more complex and harder to master and even harder to outsource, to be honest with you, but they do have a higher perceived value associated with them, as they are literally designed to make your client more money, so you can actually charge a higher retainer for these particular services. A couple of examples obviously are like Facebook ads, email marketing, SEO, conversion rate optimization, Google ads, Snapchat ads, like paid advertising basically. Those are services that are literally designed to you spend money on advertising, you make some sort of return back. Now, like I said, these are more monetary. These are kind of like more monetary service. You're actually trying to get your clients a monetary gain. These types of services typically have a clearer cut return on investment as well. For example, if you are working with a client, right, and you spend, I don't know, 5K on Facebook ads and your client makes 50K back, you've basically just made them a net return of 45K after all ad spend. It's not actually net because obviously they have cost of goods, that sort of stuff, but we call that kind of like, I guess, net, if you will, or I guess return after ad spend, if you will. So after all ad spend, yes, you spent 5K on ads, you brought them back 50K. If you take the 50K minus the ad spend, you make them 45K profit after ad spend, if you will. So that's kind of like how these kind of like services work. Opportunity services are more just based on monetary kind of gains, financial gains, if you will. You're trying to make them more money, that sort of stuff. So or even bring in more leads as well, because you can actually do what you call local lead gen ads, which are running ads for local businesses such as like restaurants to bring them in more leads, which then turn into more customers, which is why I put, you can directly or indirectly bring them more opportunities, business opportunities, either immediately or short term. And that's exactly what I meant by that. So just a quick side note, your service fee and ad spend are two separate entities. As in, when you charge somebody 5K for your services, you don't take 2K out of that particular service fee to run Facebook ads. But I'll give you more on this later, so don't worry too much about this. But yes, if you charge a client 5K and that's your service fee and they spend 5K on ads, you're not gonna just bill them 10K and then be like, I'm taking 5K to run your Facebook ads. You don't do that. You actually bill them 5K service fee, and then you have their card connected to their Facebook their business manager account, and on that business manager account, their card's connected to it, and you can spend up to 5K and put a limit on it and stuff like that. So anywho, let's talk about convenience offers. Convenience offers, on the other hand, these types of offers are designed to basically free up time and effort from your client so that they can focus their energy and attention elsewhere whilst you take care of what it is you're basically doing for them. So this is more of like you're taking it off of their hands and freeing up their energy. I personally have found that you can still charge around $2,000 is what $2,000 per month is kind of like the max I've charged for social media management, by the way. And that was actually a client from Upwork for these kinds of services. So yeah, for social media management and like convenience offers, you can still charge up to $2,000 per month. Obviously, it just depends on what services you're offering. For me, I found that $2,000 per month you can charge for social media management, but it's slightly harder to do, if I'm being honest with you, because these services don't really have a clear return on investment as an opportunity offer would do. As in, like, yes, you're managing someone's Instagram account and stuff like that, and that's cool, and they're kind of like growing and they've got good content and it's looking good, but like, has that equated to sales? Have they made any sales yet? How much revenues has that equated to? So as you can see, it's not really clear cut in terms of like, yes, you can bring them, like if you grow someone's Instagram account and stuff like that, yes, you can bring them customers down the line, but like it starts getting very murky in terms of like if they've just come out of their own will, or was it due to your efforts, or is it just because one of their friends liked the page and referred them? Like it gets very, very, very messy very soon, very, very quickly, should I say. Now, if I'm being honest with you, convenience offers though, the pro to them is that these services are typically much easier to deliver successfully, as they are much like easier to skill, they're easier skill to learn, basically is what I'm trying to say. They're way easier. There's less moving parts. It's just so much more easier to do social media management versus Facebook ads. And a pro of this as well is that it can be outsourced for very, very cheap. You can literally outsource social media management for like $100 to $150 per month per client. But downside is that you can't charge as much for these services, as it's harder to justify the price. Of course, I keep mentioning this. Now, what I want you to do here is just real quick, think about a cleaner at an office. Sure, the business owners know how to clean their office and they fully well could easily do it themselves, or they can easily just, hire a cleaner to do it for them and save them time, so they can actually focus on more important things such as growing their business and dealing with sales and customers and that sort of stuff. So that's why they do it. So there's still viable services to offer. It's just that they don't really have a clear-cut ROI. You can't really justify the price based upon, for example, if a client comes to me, like one of our e-com clients, and they say, how much have you made us this month? I can literally say, hey, look, John, we've spent 5K and we brought you back 25K. We're net 20K after ad spend. Made you 20K profit after ad spend. So this is how much we've made. Whereas with a convenience offer, you can't really do that. So a couple of examples obviously are content creation, social media manager, video editors, graphic designers, that sort of stuff. And here are a couple of opportunity offers versus convenience offers. I'm not going to read all of these, but opportunity offers are like pretty much anything advertising. So Facebook ads, LinkedIn ads, Snapchat ads, Pinterest ads, email marketing's one, YouTube and Google ads, of course, SEO, conversion rate optimization, web design and management of the actual website, chatbots, lead generation, funnel creation, consulting, copywriting. You guys get the point. And convenience offers are more like social media management, content creation, social media growth, social media strategy, branding and positioning, graphic design, video editing, that sort of stuff. So in layman terms, your services are needed because you can provide a business with either certain expertise that they do not possess themselves, that can make them more revenue and profit, or because you can help them free up time. So again, let me just quickly read that again, because I feel like I didn't do that justice. So basically, just kind of like long story short, your services are needed because you're providing a business owner with some sort of expertise that they do not provide themselves, that can then lead to making more revenue in either the short term or like immediate term kind of like return on investment, which then obviously leads to them making more profit and more revenue. Or it's because, and your services are needed because, is the second point, it's because you can help them free up time, energy and effort, so they can actually take that task, delegate it to you and your agency. That then frees up their time on their behalf, and they can focus on other important tasks within their own business. Now, what do you actually need to start your agency? I'm just going to give you a quick overview and a brief overview as to what you need to start, because in week 2 we're actually going to be breaking down all of the all the tools, the software, that sort of stuff that you need in week 2. But I'm just going to break down what you definitely do not need to actually start a social media marketing agency, or an agency, if you will. You do not need a website that lists like 7 different services that you're going to be offering with like scrolling animations. A simple funnel will do, and that's exactly what I'm going to be teaching you, how to build out a simple funnel. You do not need a fancy website with a navigational bar, with a blog on it. You don't need to be doing all that crazy stuff. You just need a simple funnel with a very just clear path from turning complete stranger into an actual call with you. That's all you need, and that's all you should have, which is a funnel. You don't need a fancy business name and a logo. And guys, the reason why I'm breaking these down just real quick, but just pause there a second, is like, don't fall victim to these things, right? I know that in the beginning of your journey, these things are gonna feel so friggin' important to you guys. Even when I'm saying this, you're probably like, are you sure we don't need a website? Are you sure we don't need a nice fancy business logo and brand? Don't all the other like top businesses like Apple have a really fancy website and brand? Yes, they do, but that's because they've established, they're $1 trillion businesses. Don't compare your business that you're just starting up to $1 trillion business. Like literally, Apple's $1 trillion, first trillion dollar business there was on planet Earth. So don't compare your business to that. What you need is a simple funnel that works and converts. You don't need a fancy business name and logo. And again, guys, just real quick, these are the things that a lot of people procrastinate on. They do these things instead of doing outreach, and you don't want to do that. And again, it's to justify them. I call it productive procrastination. It makes you feel, you building out a website that lists all your services that you're going to be offering with like really cool scrolling animations. It feels like it's productive, and it feels like you're growing your business, but we both know it's not. And it's just a way to justify you, again, procrastinating. So don't spend time building a fancy website. Don't build out a fancy business name. My literal business name when I first got started with my agency was literally called Montel Gordon. My first name, my last name. My logo was literally MG. I think it was literally No, it was actually just Montel Gordon. I literally just opened up, so I can't remember what it was. I think it was like Adobe Illustrator or something like that. And I literally just, because I think I already had it on my computer because I was into like graphic design because I wanted to start like a clothing brand and whatnot. I literally opened it up and I just typed in just Montel Gordon. I picked a cool little font, whatever it was. It took me like 10 minutes, something like that. I literally just started getting to work. Technically, that's how I came up with that. And then I did the stupidest thing, which was, waste more time on a website, which is why I can tell you this. I did it the opposite way around. I didn't do the fancy website. I did the fancy website. I didn't do the fancy logo. I just selected a really basic logo, which was just text. And then I went and built a fancy website. I actually remember it with me and my friend Sheldon. If you're ever watching this, shout out to you, man. But anyway, guys, you don't need to register a business, like I've already said. This is not legal advice. I can't give you legal advice. I have to say that on this actual video. But if you're in the US, it's definitely worth looking up, or whatever country you're in, it's definitely worth looking up. But you don't need to, especially over here in the UK, you don't need to worry about getting an accountant. You don't need to worry about tax structures. You don't need to worry about registering a private limited company. You don't need to do any of that. LTD, you don't need to worry about any of that sort of stuff because it's just not relevant. Like, why are you worrying about your tax structure if you've not even got a single paying client yet, or you've got one paying client? Worrying about your tax structure is just the complete backwards thing to worry about. You don't need to worry about business cards, fancy offices, any employees. You don't need a marketing degree or business degree, which, by the way, within itself, I'm not even going to get into this, but you guys already know my stance on the whole marketing business degree thing. It's just the stupidest thing I've ever heard, if I'm being honest with you. By the time the curriculum's updated and caught up to the latest marketing and then, checked and released to the actual academics and academia, if you will, and actually got out into the actual public school systems and universities, by that time, everything's changed. So it's the stupidest thing that I've literally ever heard. Not only that, but like, if you was really a business owner, right? Let's say you owned just real side tangent. Look how you guys got me started now. But let's say a little side tangent. If you guys are a business owner, right? And you've got one kid that comes out of university or college, wherever you're from, it's got a different name, and he shows you a marketing degree and says, I want a job with you. And then you've got another dude that has no marketing degree, but he's been able to scale multiple businesses from 0 to like 100K using Facebook ads. Who are you realistically going to hire, knowing full well that this kid with the marketing degree has probably spent the last 3 years just drinking alcohol with a bunch of like bunch of his friends in like one of those, what they call frat houses, or I don't know which ones they are, but you guys are, I'm talking about if you're over in America. But anyway, I personally would be hiring a person that actually has the actual results, tangible results. He showed me this business is scaled to this much per month using Facebook ads or whatever it is. He's managed this business's account. This. I'd hire him instead of the person that has a piece of paper that literally means nothing. Anyway, you don't also need to spend 6 months learning Facebook ads. This is another agency killer. These are what you call agency killers. Take a look at them, remember them, and then don't do them. All of these things, if you catch yourself doing these things, you're fucking up. These are not the things you should be doing. Now, what you do need, kind of like overview. So what you're going to need is obviously a niche with some sort of problem that can be solved ongoingly. Like bringing in more customers. You want to make sure that you also have a solution to that problem, which is your service. You only need one of these. You need a computer / laptop with some Wi-Fi. I don't really recommend building your business on like an iPhone or like an iPad or something like that. You actually want to be sat down at a desk and stuff like that, so that you can open up multiple tabs and you have Windows and not Windows the actual software, but you have Windows on like a computer, so you can actually drag and drop files around, that sort of stuff. And you want to make sure, and I guess what you do need is you need to focus 80% of your energy directly on outreach, as that's the only thing that's going to set you meetings, and meetings are the only things that are going to get you clients. And you also want to make sure that you remove any and all emotions from the process, as well as distractions as well. And you want to stick to this for 90 days. This is the key. If you're going to take anything away from agency transmutation, it is this. Just stick to outreach, set a number, and stick to it for 90 days straight without missing a single day. That is the challenge. And I'll just give you another quick, I'm probably going to go into this in some of the slides to come and the modules to come. But like, I always love asking my students this sort of stuff when I'm either coaching one-to-one or helping somebody build out their agency, that sort of stuff. Like, when was the last time you did something consistently for 90 days straight without missing a single day? everybody just goes completely silent whenever I ask this question, and they're like, oh shit, he's actually got a point. There's pretty much not, like, I mean, I go to the gym consistently, but not 90 days straight. I mean, I missed a couple of days. Yeah, that's the thing with SMMA. You need to stick to a number, and what I mean by stick to a number is, say you're gonna do 25 outreach a day, and then you stick to that for 90 days straight. Not 90, weekends don't count if you don't work weekends. I'm talking about 90 actual business days, by the way. But yeah, you want to make sure, and I'm telling you, every single time I've done a 90-day challenge, I've literally changed my life, and you'll see some examples coming up in the actual coming modules and stuff like that, or even some of the open coming slides. Anywho, you want to make sure that you have an amazing understanding of your niche and what their problems are. This is how we get paid as entrepreneurs, to solve people's problems or make their life easier. That's basically all it is. And you also want to make sure that you are looking at this business model, social media marketing / agency, as an actual long-term sustainable business model, not some sort of weird online thing. I want you guys to think in like 3-year periods instead of like 3-month periods. And it wasn't until I kind of started thinking about my agency in these sorts of like time frames that I actually started becoming successful, when I started thinking of it like this. So I actually don't know what it is, guys, but when you kind of hear the word SMMA and you come across SMMA, I don't know what it is, but a lot of people think it's some sort of like janky, like online way to make some quick money. It's a quick buck type of thing. You can scale from 0 to 10K in like your first 2 days. It's more of a long-term business model, guys. I really want you to think, it's just like any other business. Would you, I don't know, start a clothing line and expect to get to 10K in the first month? Would you start an accounting firm? This is very, very, very common and very similar to an agency. Would you start an accounting firm and expect to get to 10K in the first month with your accounting firm? I mean, it can be done, and that's why they're kind of highlighted by all the quote unquote gurus out there and stuff like that. But it's, far and few between, if you will. So I'll also be breaking down, by the way, there is software that we're going to need to be breaking down, like your website, how to build that out, the tools, the routine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to break all the software and tools down, explain them all, and I'm going to help you set them all up in week 2 as well. So don't worry too much about that. Picking your niche as well, by the way, and picking what service to offer are actually up and coming modules. Those 2 deserve their own modules, so you'll see it in week 1. I'm going to be breaking these 2 down in like their own modules. Now, let me actually explain the hybrid system of SMMA. So that was kind of like the old way of doing SMMA, where you pick a niche, that you then identify their problems, and then you go and find them and build out a lead sheet, and you put all those leads into a lead sheet or a CRM system. You then do all the outreach, that sort of stuff. That's very, very, I would say it's the old way of doing it, and it's very slow, to be honest with you, which is why I've created what you call the hybrid system. Now, let me break down the hybrid system. So just real quick, I want to break down what a hybrid vehicle actually is. So a hybrid electric vehicle, or a HEV for short, HEV. HEVs are, powered by an internal combustion engine, and they also have an electric motor. So basically, think of a car with 2 different propulsion kind of like systems, if you will. So what basically happens is, an electric car can't actually, a hybrid electric car can't actually be plugged in to like a charger. Basically, those are just electric cars. Electric cars are, can be plugged directly into a plug socket. Whereas hybrid electric cars are slightly different. They have combustion engines and they have electric engines. So what happens is, when a hybrid car is kind of like driving and using the engine, that internal combustion engine actually recharges when they brake. It's called regenerative braking, and that basically charges up the actual battery of the actual vehicle, and that gives electricity to the actual electric side of the actual vehicle. Now, you're probably sat there wondering, like, okay, Montel, I understand what a hybrid vehicle actually is, hybrid electric vehicle actually is, but what on earth does that have to do with social media marketing, building my agency, getting clients, agency life in general? What does it have to do with anything? It's a good question. Well, what we're going to be doing is we're actually going to be taking a similar approach to building out our agency / SMMA, using what I like to call the hybrid system. This is basically a system I've designed myself to help you get clients quickly by using one outreach method that basically fuels the second outreach system until that second one becomes self-sustaining. Let me repeat that. It's basically very simple. In layman terms, we're going to be using one outreach system to scale up quickly, That outreach system is then going to power, if you will, the second outreach system until the second outreach system basically can power itself. That's basically all it is. Now, let me quickly explain the hybrid system, and the reason why I've kind of created this, if you will. So here's what I've learned. I've been, been in the actual game for a long time in SMMA. So I've noticed time and time again, after like 3 full years, probably it's like 3 and a bit years now of actual SMMA. Well, technically it's 2 years of actual SMMA, because my first year I kind of like dilly-daddled, that sort of stuff. So yeah, I guess 3 years I've kind of known about SMMA. I didn't really jump in until like a year after that, realistically going in and stuff like that. Like I was trying, but I didn't really. It's funny because you don't know what you don't know. Like I thought I was building out SMMA by building websites, but that's not. I don't count that as building SMMA. So that's what I was doing, building out websites for myself and just procrastinating basically. So anyway, here's what I've noticed time and time again after 3 years of SMMA, coaching hundreds of students one-to-one and speaking to literally thousands of agency owners via my social media and through like my YouTube channel, my Instagram account and stuff like that. This is what I call the old way of SMMA. This is literally the path that like 99.9% of you guys even watching this probably took as well. And it's what I took. So people typically start an online business because they're broke, and they pick SMMA because it's free to start and you can make money online really quickly. So that's normally kind of like the compelling reason, the thing that pulls and pushes people towards SMMA, because they go to Google, they type in, because they're broke, how to start a business and make money online. That's literally what I did. I came across all sorts of different business models such as dropshipping, Amazon FBA, that sort of stuff, and then picked SMMA because it sounded like, after I picked dropshipping, then got into SMMA because I realized dropshipping was all the way up and down. SMMA was a much better business model still, which by the way is the best business model I've actually found to this day. So this is what people then do after spending 6 months, quote unquote, learning SMMA. People jump right into one of the hardest skills to master, which is cold email. So imagine this: somebody goes and Googles, because they're broke, how to make money online. They then come across a bunch of business models. They pick SMMA because it's the most stable. They then jump straight into trying to do cold emails, which is literally one of the hardest skills to master as an entrepreneur and as a person in general. Literally being able to email somebody, get them on a call, and sell them a $2,000 per month package, or like I want to say package. I don't really do packages. I don't know why I say package. A $2,000 per month service, if you will, is a tall order, if you will, especially for a beginner. So the reason why people actually do this is because it's normally due to them being broke, and cold emails are free. This is exactly what I've noticed. People, are broke. They Google how to make money online. They come across SMMA. They then spend months, quote unquote, learning it. They then jump straight into cold emails, which is a mistake, because it takes a long time to master cold emails. Now, the reason why they pick cold emails in the first place is because it's free, so they can actually get started for free. There's no real starter cost, which is cool. Not only that, but like I said, SMMA may sound like a solid way to make a quick book online, if you will, and it's not really. It's a real business, if I'm being honest with you. Sorry to disappoint you guys. Then what happens is these people then proceed to do cold emails. They cold email a bunch of businesses with a very basic script that they basically found from one of the gurus on YouTube or online somewhere, like HubSpot, for example. They use zero personalization in their email, and they end up sounding like everybody else offering the exact same service. They, get very few positive, responses and replies from this, and they almost get either no meetings or very few meetings after sending thousands of emails. And of course, this literally leads them to very little results in terms of they get either no clients or maybe one client. And if they do get a client this way, it feels so horribly inconsistent that it feels like a fluke, or that it actually just starts to feel like way too much work actually went into getting that one client, to the point where it doesn't even feel like it was worth it in the first place. Like, so much work went into that. I sent literally thousands of emails and I got one client, and like it doesn't even feel worth it. I repeat, that's if they do get a client. Now, this of course leaves people feeling completely burnt out. This is literally what I've seen. People just become completely burnt out, especially due to them doing all of the lead sourcing, all of the prospecting, all of the email writing themselves, which nobody will tell you this except for me, is literally like a 9-to-5 job within itself. Doing lead sourcing, prospecting, email writing, all that yourself is like a 9-to-5 job within itself. I'm not even joking. then what happens is this literally leads people to start despising the actual agency business model, when actually it's a very beautiful business model if you understand it. And they, start to claim that SMMA doesn't work, or that the niche is oversaturated, or SMMA itself is oversaturated. They start saying stuff like cold emails don't work, it's really crappy. I'm jumping into a different business model. These I guess negative connotations are far from the truth. It's just that you just did it the old way, which is what a lot of gurus still teach you to do. We still teach you to go and build a lead. So go pick a niche, go to Google, you type in restaurants near me, you go to TripAdvisor over here in the UK, or you go to some sort of other website and you start grabbing leads. You then reach out to them with a very basic script because email's free. You get no replies, and then you start hating the agency. So that's the old way. Now here's the new way, which I like to call the hybrid way. At the very beginning, what we're going to do is we're going to skip over cold outreach, and we're going to utilize the warmest outreach method there is known to man, which is Upwork. Now, we use Upwork in order to close smaller ticket clients, but at a higher frequency. And that's going to propel us forward financially and give us much more confidence within ourselves. Now, we actually use these clients for cash flow purposes if we don't have any cash flow. So if you don't have a job, for example, and you're broke and stuff like that, in order to automate certain stuff, you're going to need cash flow in your business. It's not really a great idea to start a business when you're broke. Yes, it can be done. I started my actual social media marketing agency, by the way, with negative £132 and 71 pence, to be precise, in my bank, in my Barclays student overdraft. I'm not even joking. Anywho, when we gain these smaller tickets from Upwork, it's not because we can't close higher ticket clients. It's just because we know we can use them really quickly for cash flow purposes to invest into automating other processes of in our agency, basically. So these small ticket clients, these small ticket clients, like I said, actually grants us with stable cash flow, which then enables us to step outside of Upwork, so off of Upwork, once we're at around 3K per month-ish, to then hire people such as like lead sources, first line writers. You can call these virtual assistants, if you will. And these people automate our cold email systems so that we can land higher ticket clients on autopilot via cold outreach, which is what the hybrid system is. Just again, real quick, we use Upwork, stack smaller ticket clients, not because we don't know how to get higher ticket clients. It's because we understand that getting higher ticket clients via like cold email, which is where you pretty much get higher ticket clients from, is difficult to do on our own because it's so tedious to do, especially with the personalization and lead sourcing. So what we do is we get higher ticket clients, and then we use the money from we get lower ticket clients from Upwork, and then we use that money from these lower ticket clients to invest into outsourcing the jobs that we don't like doing, such as hiring lead sources, hiring first line writers, and automating our cold emails. So what this is basically going to do is, overall, this allows us to go much further and much more smoothly as a normal person, as we can crank out literally double or triple the amount of outreach in less than half the time as everybody else. Not only that, but this is personalized outreach at scale, which is genuinely the key to SMMA. If anybody asks you what's the key to SMMA, it's outreach. But then if you take it one step further, it's outreach at scale that's personalized. That's right there. Whatever you have to do to rewind that, just go rewind that, because that is literally, don't let that go over your head. Outreach is the key to SMMA, but to take it one step further, it's outreach that's personalized and that's at scale. That's the key to SMMA. Now, when you actually outsource this sort of stuff and do the hybrid way, it allows us to, split test more of what we're doing, more variables, as we have the actual time now to step back and actually think outside of the box in terms of coming up with new ideas to split test in our cold emails, instead of running around like headless chickens doing the lead sourcing and struggling to crank out even 15 emails a day that are personalized. Like literally, if you go and try to crank out 15 personalized emails a day and you have no leads, first of all, just finding 15 qualified leads, especially for like for the e-commerce niche, is very difficult to do. And then you have to personalize them. You're literally going to be spending 3 hours maybe doing that one particular job. So we actually definitely want to be outsourcing this. Now, I just want to give you a reminder. Doing everything in your business by yourself is not actually a business. You might think it is, but I want to ask you this. What business do you know on planet Earth, successful business that is, do you know that's actually just got the CEO doing every single job role in the actual business? There is none. I'm telling you right now, there is no business that's doing that. And if you can find one, fun fact, that's not a business. That's actually a 9-to-5 job disguised as a business. So just in layman's terms, just to give you this little I guess pin up, if you will. You can actually print this out, by the way. I'd actually recommend printing this out. So in layman's terms, we're going to be using Upwork as an engine to fuel our cold email system until our cold email system becomes self-sustaining and completely automated. Again, use Upwork, gain small ticket clients. Small ticket clients then allows us to outsource certain jobs such as lead sourcing, first line writing, that sort of stuff. And then what we do is we actually, invest that into what we call our cold email system. And now our cold email system is being fueled by the clients from Upwork. So basically, our clients are literally from Upwork are paying for the automation of our cold emails to get higher ticket clients. And then once we've got a few high ticket clients underneath our belt, we don't really need to use Upwork. Although I don't really recommend kind of cutting it off, because like, why would you cut off free money, if you will? Well, it's not really free, but you know what I mean. It's a really good place to actually fill up your pipeline. But anyway, let me just break this down. What if you already have cash flow? Because I know that there's some people out there that are wondering like, okay, cool, I can see that we use the hybrid system if we don't have cash flow, but what if you already have cash flow? So let me break down when not to use the hybrid system. So ideally, if you are comfortably, I repeat, if you're already comfortably at 3K profit per month with your agency, and you just really, really, really do not want to use Upwork for whatever reason, then you just don't need to use it, of course. And I say that to say this, look, I personally, if I'm being honest with you guys, just like, I guess just being brutally honest, I still recommend 100% using Upwork. But yes, if you are able to afford around, I think it works out to be $505 per month to actually automate your outreach, your email systems, because you've got a first line writer, you've got certain software in there, then yes, you can automate you can actually just go and not use Upwork if you really, really don't want to use it. I don't really recommend it, because like Upwork is a really easy way and very quick, slick, it's the quickest, simplest, smoothest way to actually get clients, I've found. Now, when not to use the hybrid system, here's another point. If you're completely just flat out broke and you honestly cannot afford, a minimum of 20 working days worth of Upwork Connects, which is a max of $216 if you work it out, I would recommend just sticking to cold emails. It's going to suck, but hey, you've got to do what you got to do to actually build your business. And obviously, I had to do this at the very beginning. I didn't switch into Upwork, that sort of stuff, when I obviously found out about it. Now, another point is, if you're banned from Upwork or you're under 18, then you're going to have to use cold emails and you're going to have to skip Upwork. If you're banned for whatever reason, you can't use Upwork, or you just don't have it in your country, or if it's just unavailable, for example, if you're under 18 or just in a country that doesn't have it, then you're going to have to obviously skip Upwork and just use cold emails. You see, don't worry too much about that if you have to skip Upwork for reasons, external reasons, because this program is actually going to go heavily, I repeat, heavily into cold emails. So you're going to be fine either way. It's just what I found, it's just 10x easier to actually have your emails automated than to do them yourselves, 100%. Now, just a quick side note, even if you just get one client, even if you just do the bare minimum, and even just get one client from Upwork at $500 profit, you can automate your first line writing for literally $200 to $300 per month. So I just want to put that out there and keep that at the back of your head. So you don't really have to afford all this $505 per month to automate. There's if you want to just do the bare minimum, just get like a first line writer, literally, you can outsource that for literally $200 to $300 per month. So just get one client on Upwork and you're good to go, if you don't have that cash flow. So in summary, because I don't want to confuse anybody, if you can't afford, this is kind of like the three options you have right here. So on the left hand side, we have a box here which says stick to manual cold email. So if you can't afford $216 for Upwork Connects, if you're banned from Upwork, or if you're under 18 and you can't use Upwork, or if Upwork's just not available in your country, then obviously you're gonna have to skip Upwork and just stick to doing cold emails but manually. Now in the middle, we also have when you should actually use the hybrid system, which is if you can afford $216 per month, if your agency is below like 3K per month, if you want to scale faster, even if your agency is above 3K per month, it doesn't matter. If you want to scale faster, you still use Upwork. And if you're just at like maybe 1 or 2K and you want to use Upwork, 100% still do that 100%. Like I said, if you can afford the $216. And if you don't want to use like cold email, for example, if you're already at like 5K, for example, per month, and you just don't want to use cold emails because you don't you're not bothered about the whole cold outreach stuff and scaling up with high ticket clients. You'd rather have lower ticket clients, or like not to say that Upwork's just full of low ticket clients, but I'm trying to say, like, if you just don't want to go the email route, you can just use Upwork and scale your agency to literally 10K per month or above, just using Upwork alone. I've seen many people do it. I actually almost got there myself. I personally used Upwork up until around 5-ish K, and then outsourced my actual emails, that sort of stuff, and then just literally blew up to like this is in dollars, by the way. I blew up to like 10K plus really quickly by automating my cold emails. So if there's people out there watching this that just don't want to use cold emails, or vice versa, then you've got a couple of options here. Now on the right hand side, we have when you can actually start automating your emails. I would personally stick to automating emails when you're about 3K per month and above, and you just don't want to use Upwork. Or if you just don't want to use Upwork in general, then and you have the money to automate it, then you can obviously just go hire a first line writer. Or if you just successfully used, you've used this program and you've gone through, you've used Upwork and you've scaled to that 3K per month, and you want to automate your agency and your cold emails, then you can actually go out and just start automating. So again, you can actually use this in summary. But basically, just one more time, our Upwork engine is basically what fuels our cold email system until our cold email system becomes self-sustaining and completely automated. So guys, that is a wrap for today's module. I hope that you've enjoyed module 2 of week 1 in agency transmutation, and I will see you in module 3 very soon.